Hey guys, Greg here, Bone Tactical, my dream shop build. Today we're going to be showing a little bit of the new terrace. All right, some cool stuff that we did, really cool stuff with the landscaping and some just structural stuff for the outside of the building. I definitely wanted to get in here and show you guys this. It's raining, obviously, so really it may not have been the best day to show this, but also it's a good contrast for showing why this suspended slab or terrace section that we just finished is so important. We're still, building out the roof basically. So that means, it's getting rained on still about half the shop. We're 50% done with the terrace sections, just a crap ton of work. I think I've got like 300 or 400 bags of concrete mixed so far in just in the roof section there. So I've got 300 or 400 more to go for the rest of it. But we're also going to talk about some of these. I basically did frames for these large open areas so we can have air coming through, but so that the sun will be blocked, so we have UV protection. And then I can store a bunch of stuff on top of these, tool storage boxes that I built. The terrace section here is just about done. So we're going to be ripping all of these supports out and all the bracing and everything in the framework. That'll all come out and it'll be ready to go. We're finding it a little bit difficult to be building, making tools. I'm having a hard time making tools and then building the shop at the same time. So that's why a lot of the stuff is sold out right now on the website. Haven't quit, still doing it, but there's, only so much that I can do, one person. I have a lot of help, a lot of guys that I'm training as apprentices, but still I have to be doing everything myself, or at least there physically at the time watching and making sure, a lot of times fixing stuff. Final grind on the knives, I do all that myself. So just, there's a few things I can have help with, but still just making sure that quality control is there is so important. I'll take you guys up top here and show you around, or I'll either that or cut in some overhead views, probably just cut in some overhead views of the terrace. You can see the what's basically steel framing around there. What I'm gonna do is do like a vented wood system. It's going to be really cool, so stay tuned for that. So this will all be topped off here, and then storage area up top for like Pelican cases or just loose storage stuff. It'll be wind and water and sun protected, but it'll have air that can pass through, just not direct like high force wind. Since we're on top of a mountain here, in the afternoon it gets pretty windy, which is great for we don't have to necessarily have air conditioning in the shop. It's nice and cool. Then we're doing basically turning the water tower now into what will be a storage area, or like a storage shed for shovels and stuff like that at the bottom for the landscaping crew. And then in the top section, there will be actual a guard tower. Okay, so we'll have a guard tower up there in the top section. And then there'll be a kind of a storage shed in the bottom. That's pretty cool. It's coming along nicely. We actually did a cool little detail. I used what would be considered for super heavy duty, maybe a little light. These tubes, galvanized tubing, are a little lighter than maybe what you would want to have for like a long-term permanent water tower, since there's so much weight up top. But what I did was I filled them with concrete, the four corner posts. So these are actually very structurally strong as long as they don't buckle. And now, being filled with concrete, they can't buckle. So you can hear the difference in this one. I actually didn't fill these supports because they're not necessary. There's not really any buckling force against them that can buckle them. And then the four corner posts, solid, filled with concrete, and now was able to get what would be like 10 times the price in really heavy, strong steel tubing, but use this. Only used about $1,000 worth of metal material to build this, and then a couple $100 of concrete. Obviously a lot of labor, but this would have been, $10,000 worth of metal if I had done it in the traditional heavy iron, building sense. So really cool little idea there, you guys that are industrious. Here you can see a better view of what I was talking about with the frames that I've built. So there's going to be air that passes through, like I said, but I'm gonna do a really cool vented wood system. It's actually gonna do some really cool wood stuff for you guys that like cutting your own or prepping your own or doing your own woodwork, especially if it's from fallen trees and stuff like that. You guys are really gonna enjoy this in a future episode where I show actually how I do all that. These are basically like a frame for anything else. They're fixed into the concrete with stainless steel tubes that are actually fixed into the whole base, so it's just incredibly strong. The stainless steel tubes are on the bottom, and then these ones over here really only require a single frame all the way around. This one's got the triple steel framing at the bottom because that's where I'm gonna store a lot of the metal for my knife making. So that'll be like a foot of just metal, you know, stock for all kinds of different steel stock for making knives. And we're talking about several thousand pounds of actual steel for making knives that are gonna be up there. And you can see that the actual whole top of that is a supported suspended slab in and of itself, designed to support thousands of pounds. So it's going to be, there's going to be an incredible amount of weight up there, but we built that for that specific purpose. You can see here some of the natural materials that we're using. There's different size rocks over here. We often break them up if we need different size rocks. We have bought concrete blocks, but supplementing with natural materials like rock, actually that we're put, you know, these rocks we're pulling out of rivers. This gravel right here that I'm walking on, this all used to be just like mud and dirt. You can see, you can literally watch the first video of this shop build where I, with a bulldozer, this was a mountain. This leveled the top of this mountain and it was all mud and dirt. And then we just have been pulling gravel out of the mountain here where there's gravel patches, right? Veins of gravel running through, loading it in wheelbarrows and just dumping it here on top, which now we've got a gravel area. Reutilizing all of the metal and stuff over here that's basically scrap material. So all of those frames that you just saw were metal framing I used in my old shop that we tore down. And then I'm actually joining all of these scraps of different metals that I've been using over the years and just reutilizing everything for getting the maximum, you know, best for my money's worth. Metal prices are going up, so I'm just reutilizing all metal. We don't throw anything away. You know, we even forge our own metal and all kinds of stuff here, so just reutilizing. You guys have probably seen back here was my, you know, scrap area, junkyard area, and I'm in the process of organizing everything back here right now. So we've got, you know, this stuff all still needs to be organized, but we're actually going through it pretty well. We've got sheet metal over here, some plywood scraps over here. I've got all my rough cut lumber over here. I've got some really cool, huge actual root sections of a tree that fell that was like, it was bigger than I could stretch my arms, just the diameter. It was like an 8-foot diameter, massive tree, that Nargusta wood tree, and just beautiful. I'm probably gonna make a desk or something out of those one day. You guys will see that. We did a sort of what would be considered like a little bit of Japanese influence here with the stones at the bottom, and then leveling. This is gonna be an area, this is gonna be a structure that I'm gonna use for storing, okay? It's all just rough cut lumber that has just old fallen trees and stuff like that we cut with a chainsaw. And then kind of framing this out to be having different storages for the different kinds of metals and stuff like that. And then I'm gonna put some arms on there so I can store PVC and then the long, you know, the rebar and stuff like that on one side, and then all the metal scrap in the middle. So that'll be that. Still kind of building up. This is gonna be the junkyard section though. Then once I finish the suspended slab, I'm gonna use all of those framing pieces, all of those, you know, long tree looking things, and I'm gonna build a exterior section here where we'll have a little warehouse for storing all this stuff. So that's the idea there. The really cool thing we've done here is, what are these? Well, these are just tree branches, right? Share a real quick story with you. I've got a frangipani tree at my place in Bradenton, Florida, our warehouse there, or base of operations in Bradenton, Florida. Grew up down in the Everglades. When I was a little kid, I happened to be at a friend's boat building shop down there. On a limb of a frangipani tree, it broke off. Then I took it home, stuck it in the ground, grew a big frangipani tree. And actually, that was in Naples then. Took a piece of that to Bradenton, stuck it in the ground, and now we have a few different frangipani trees down there in Bradenton at our shop. So this is a similar tree that can do something very similar, but it's not called a frangipani. In English, it's Mexican lilac. So one of the cool things about it is it does great for soil. It helps the soil. The leaves actually work as sort of like a compost pile when the tree grows. But the coolest thing about it is you just cut these branches off of the tree, stick it in the ground, and they'll grow on their own. So these will all be trees. It'll be a natural fence, natural barrier here to where we can actually put in some roots into the ground and really help firm up this slope here. All right, to protect against wind and water damage, which the rainy season is coming. So, and another thing is that Mexican lilac is a wood that's just a beautiful wood, very similar to oak. I'll take you around here at the end of the video and show you what a 100-year-old Mexican lilac tree looks like. So we're talking about in future generations, the next generation of Bone Tactical, maybe my grandkids will be pulling out these trees one day, planting other trees, and then using these, or as they die, using the wood for knife handles one day, or any kind of a project. So we've, I'll do some cut-ins if I haven't already done the cut-ins of the actual planting of these, but we just went to a local farm here where the farm was using these for fence posts. This Mexican lilac is very popular to be used for natural living fences. So the farm had them for fence posts, and then the bottom section that like this will actually grow out like this and then have all these sprouts. So you just cut one of the sapling sprouts off and you plant it, and that's what all these are. You can actually see here that this has been planted for about a week, but we've got, it's already starting to grow. So this was not here when we planted the tree, and this is actually what it looks like when you know it's alive and it's growing. So great news right there. We haven't had rain for like 15, 20 days. Actually, we haven't had rain for like a month, but it rained a little bit this morning. A huge downpour just came through, and then we're gonna get rain again this afternoon for sure. So that'll be nice. That's perfect timing for those guys. And like I told you, I'll show you what that Mexican lilac looks like as just the wood itself. So let's go check that out. So here's some Mexican lilac behind me, and these are some trees that died, I would say over 100 years old for sure. And just happened to find these. Some neighbors of mine actually had planted their living fences, you know, generations ago. And then occasionally when the trees die, they just leave them there, or they fall over, or a lot of people use it for firewood. But it's got very tough wood. Not necessarily in the class of an ironwood, but I would consider it most similar to oak. It's a little harder than oak, actually harder than oak, but it appears something similar to what would be most known in North America as oak. It's got the live edge, kind of like tamarind, is not a great wood, but it's got a very thin live edge. It's a soft live edge I wouldn't want to use, and you know, very prone to spalting, like you can see right here. So I wouldn't really want to use the live edge necessarily for anything that I wanted to be strong, but because you can see it'll just break off easily. But everything, this line delineates here where you can hear even the sound difference in the density. But this line delineates here, everything on the inside is just a very tough, very strong, very beautiful wood. This is exposed to the sun right here. So any kind, you know, a fine polish and a little bit of sealer without any color or anything, it's just gonna be an absolutely beautiful wood. Something really cool that we have the ability to do. I think years from now, you guys may see this wood, because it takes me years to do this stuff, but years from now, you guys might see I take a part of this, for example, to make a handle out of where there's a natural hole, and then stabilize it and maybe stick a couple little cool precious stones or something that I could find, or, you know, whatever we can come across that looks cool, stick in that hole there, and then just make something really attention grabbing. I'm kind of starting to get more now with my knives and tools and edged weapons that we're producing here in the shop. I've been known, you know, for years as making the most effective edged weapons, and now I'm gonna start trying to do some stuff that's more collector's item friendly, beautiful exotic materials, getting into all that stuff. Still the most effective designs, you know, the world over, but just now really starting to get into more high-end collector stuff as well. I'm gonna try and split the spectrum to where I can do some, you know, modern warrior version, keep going with that, where I can have some affordable stuff for you guys that want to get out there in the field and use your stuff. Don't want to spend a lot of money, but I also want to be able to make some of the same versions of the same effective blades that are more of a collector's edition. So thanks for watching. Comment below. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know what you want to see more of, and we'll get that stuff coming for you. Bone out.